it might be time to buy a Wi-Fi signal booster. But before you do that, consider one final trick. Your router's antenna doesn't broadcast equally in all directions. You might think that pointing the tip of the antenna at your device will point more of the signal in that direction, but it's actually the opposite. The antenna broadcasts most strongly in a ring outwards from the axis of the antenna, in a donut shape. So to increase the strength in a certain direction, it's best to point your antenna perpendicular to where you want the signal to be strongest. Keep all of this in mind, and you should be able to watch as many SciShow videos in your bed as you want to. But before you take our advice to your own apartment, you can practice arranging your routers for the best signal by taking this Brilliant.org quiz with us. So I'm just gonna skip through the lesson a little bit just to show it off. We have to figure out which one of these rooms can't be guarded by a single guard or a single Wi-Fi router. So in shape A, if I'm down here, I can see down both of the legs of the room. And in B, we have the same thing. I can see down all four legs. But for C, it looks like no matter where I set up, I can't see down this leg and this leg at the same time. So I think that's the answer. Boom! And this is one of the cool things that I really love about Brilliant, is that they use these examples like guards and art galleries to teach you the concept, but then these ideas are applicable in real life, like setting up your Wi-Fi router. So if you want to check it out and help support SciShow, the first 77 people to sign up over at Brilliant.org/SciShow will get 20% off their annual premium subscription.
Lon Seidman, and we're going to be checking out some routers over the next couple of weeks, starting with this one from Belkin. This is their AC1750UV. This is a dual-band wireless AC router that also has a gigabit Ethernet on board. This one is really aimed at a general consumer audience. So if you're a techie looking for a lot of ultimate control over what goes on your network and how it operates, this is probably not going to be for you. But if you are, a consumer looking for better speeds out of your network, maybe you want to plug in some network-attached storage devices and want faster wireless for your new devices that support wireless AC, this one might be worth considering. So we'll step through that, but just know this is really not aimed at the techie enthusiast audience. You've got 4 gigabit Ethernet ports on here, which is really good. As you know, if you watch any of my network-attached storage device videos, you definitely want the gigabit for the best speeds on your network. It also has, of course, the WAN port for connecting to your cable modem or DSL modem or whatever you're connecting to the internet with. You have 2 USB 3.0 ports on here. They're relatively crippled in the sense that you can connect a hard drive to it, but you really can't do all that much with it, and I'll show you what that is all about in a minute when we look through its control panel. You could also connect printers to it and have this act as a print server. And that's pretty much it. It's doesn't really feel like all that much. There isn't much inside of it, but it's just a hollow plastic shell. But I would imagine a lot of this is for the antenna. Now, it does have dual band wireless, which will give you better speeds if you have devices that support the new wireless AC standard. So things like the iPad Air 2, maybe the new iPhone, and a bunch of Android devices and other notebook computers, I'm sure, all support this. But a lot of the older ones don't. So before you really jump into this thinking you're going to be getting faster wireless, make sure that your device supports wireless AC. It is relatively new, so a lot of older stuff, even things that are like a year or two old, may not support it. So, check accordingly before you spend the money on it. But let's take a look at the control panel now, and we'll see what makes this thing tick. Now, I'm going to start my overview of the control panel on the router with a gripe. So you'll notice when I hit my enter key and log in, there isn't any logging in because it's not asking me for a password, and it should be. And that's a big problem that I have with a lot of these consumer-facing devices that really compromise security for convenience. And I think there's ways to enforce security without making things too difficult to use. And in this case, this is really would have been an easy thing to do. They do make you put in a Wi-Fi password to connect to it wirelessly. There's a big sticker that it comes with the password, and the router even knows what that password is and displays it here. They could have made that the default login for the control panel, but they don't, and that really aggravates me that they don't have those things on there. You can set a password for the control panel here just by clicking here and typing everything in, but it really isn't obvious, and they really should have made this part of the initial workflow, that if you want to use it, set the password up, and then we'll let you do everything else. And it was really, I just don't think that's a good security conscious thing to do. Now, the one thing it's going to prompt you for when you first get here is to add a little more oomph. And again, very consumer friendly language here. They have something called IntelliStream, which if you are a networking savvy person, you will also know as quality of service. And what this basically does is that if you have, let's
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Newegg TV. My name is Paul, and today's video is on this family of wireless dual-band routers from Belkin. We start off with the N450, we also have the N600 and the N750. These all share some similarities, but they are all also distinct from one another, so we'll start off with the N450. So let's start off with some details from the box. Of course, you get dual band speed, and the 450 in the N450 name of this router refers to the 150 megabits per second. That's maximum throughput available on the 2.4 gigahertz band, and the 300 megabits per second available on the 5 gigahertz band. Now, please bear in mind that these two bands cannot be aggregated together to give you a full throughput of 450. They are separate, but what it does allow you to do is connect different devices on the different bands and actually keep that traffic separate so that they don't conflict with each other, which is great if you're going to be doing. And for even more simplification, they have actually pre-attached a couple of the cables here for you, so you will not need to have any guesswork for where those are. Apart from those inside the box, you get, again, an installation disc, and they want you to plug that into your laptop or a network-connected computer in order to properly set up your router. Apart from that, well, that's about all you get in the box. So let me get the packaging off this. We'll take a closer look at the router itself. So here's a look at the included accessories without the packaging. Although I have left little tags on, they match up exactly with the images on the inside of the box there. So it should be fairly easy to set up. There's your AC adapter to provide power. They have included one Ethernet cable here. You might come over and have a custom slides easily into this slot on the bottom of the very simple, guides you through everything, and it comes with directly and not use the wireless. You also have a reset button down here, and finally your AC adapter port. So next up, we're moving on to the N600DB, and I've already removed it from the box and all the packaging. Packaging is essentially the same as the N450. Very simple, guides you through everything, and it comes with a couple the cables that included already plugged in. You get the same accessories as far as the Ethernet cable and AC adapter with the N600. Physically, you do get a glossy black finish on this one, so as you can see, as opposed to the matte black finish of the N450 over here. N600 is also, of course, a dual band router, and you get 300 megabits per second of throughput on each of those individual bands, 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. One other specific difference about this one is on the back, right there, you have a USB plug, and that can be used for a few different purposes, but I'm going to come back to that.